This is Clifford Stone, and you're listening to EA Radio.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Enigmatic Anomalies. I'm your host, Kevin Keel.
And I'm Terry Ling.
We have an awesome show lined up for you tonight. We'll be speaking with international photojournalist Paula Harris.
Not only is Paula Harris a photojournalist, she's also an investigative reporter in the field of extraterrestrial-related phenomena research. She is also a widely published freelance writer, especially in Europe. She has studied extraterrestrial-related phenomena since 1979 and is on personal terms with many of the leading researchers in the field from 1980 to 1986. She also assisted Dr. J. Allen Hynek with his UFO investigations and has interviewed many top military witnesses concerning their involvement in the government and truth embargo. In 1997, Ms. Harris met and interviewed Colonel Philip Corso in Roswell, New Mexico, and became a personal friend and confidant. She was instrumental in having his book, The Day After Roswell, for which she wrote the preface, translated it also into Italian. She returned to Roswell in the summer of 2003 for the American debut of her book, Connecting the Dots, Making Sense of the UFO Phenomenon. She also has a regular column in X Times magazines and has written for Fate magazine, Nexus Australia, Explora, among other publications. Paula lives in Rome and Boulder, Colorado, and has a master's degree in education. She teaches online classes and exopolitics for Dr. Michael Sala's Exploitics Institute, for which she is International Liaison Director, and also for the International Metaphysical University.
So as you can tell, Paula has a very extensive and a very impressive resume in the history and the study of UFOs. So stick with us as we learn from Paula about her upcoming Starworks USA Symposium in Elmhurst, Illinois, at the siting of the Chicago O'hare UFO incident. We'll be right back.
4,734 UFO sightings in 2007. 854 abductions by aliens or unknown species reported by American and British citizens. Press information about collisions with passenger aircraft and UFOs that has been kept from the public knowledge for years, and only one trusted source on information from some of the top UFO researchers in the world. Exclusive information that cannot be found anywhere else on the planet. Trusted, connected, accurate. TheUFOstore.com. Expand your personal library with fast shipping and instant downloadable information from the largest selection of UFO products on the internet by going to theufostore.com or call on the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week order line at 541-523-2630. The truth is out there, and theufostore.com has it.
Welcome back to Enigmatic Anomalies Radio. We're here tonight with Paula Harris, and we're so pleased that you could join us tonight, Paula. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking me.
Oh, this is a pleasure. Thank you for coming on with us. You've got so much going on, and just recently, I know that there's been a lot of sightings with UFOs, especially over airports. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I just wanted to let our listeners know that you really were the first woman to hold a conference in Glen Rose, Texas, for all women, and that was just an amazing symposium that you held, and I hear that it went very well. And then you continue to hold symposiums with Starworks USA, which is such an impressive organization that I know you are the founder of. You've been in Sebring, Florida, and you've held the Contact symposium there. That was amazing. Now you've got one coming up in Elmhurst, Illinois. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. It's been a pleasure to create Starworks USA because it's a company that will host these educational type conferences. And the Elmhurst, Chicago, I say Chicago because this is about the Chicago O'Hare incident. I usually create some kind of theme around the conference. And on May 2nd through 4th this year, 2014, I brought together some very, very powerful people to talk about media and disclosure. It's always going to be about UFOs, but the theme is the evidence in the skies. In other words, what you just mentioned about sightings over airports is really very important. And what we had in 2006, it was November 7th, 2006, is a UFO sit over the United Airlines terminal, gate C-17, for 3 minutes, and people saw it. The pilots that were, coming down saw it. The people that were working there at that part of the United terminal saw it. And not only that, what's important, and this will be relevant for you, Terry, is that MUFON got the radar reports to prove it was a UFO.
Absolutely.
And that it was shouldn't have been there. It was anomalous. It was it sat there for 3 minutes, went up through the clouds, and punched a hole right through the clouds. So that's an interesting incident. And so I thought, well, when we have the third conference, why don't we have media and we have some very, interesting guests talk about this and of course we can add now, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, the recent sightings in Germany, in China, and in the UK. So I think you want me to mention who's there. You
That'd
want
be
me
great.
to mention the people, right? Because that's really the exciting part about this conference, is that it's being hosted by Cheryl Jones, who is a former CNN anchor lady, and we have Jennifer Stein, who is an award-winning documentary maker, and we have Esen Sekarara from Turkey, who is a journalist, and we'll talk about sightings in Turkey that pilots have reported. And, of course, I will be talking about the latest sightings, but I'm all excited to have James Fox. He's just so cool. Everybody will love him. He's been on Larry King Live. He did the film Out of the Blue, and I Know What I Saw. He's currently working on a film called 701. It's a documentary about Blue Book and the 701 cases. He's a very young, dynamic director. And then I have Lee Spiegel of the Huffington Post, who will be speaking. I have Scott Coburn, who is the host of a paranormal UFO radio show in Nebraska. That's KZUM. And then I have Sam Moranto, who is the MUFON director for the state of Illinois. Now, Sam will cover the O'Hare case. He will cover the radar reports. He will talk about that. And so we have all of these different media people, and we have an incredible panel after that who will discuss how do you report this, and how come people make fun of this, and how come it doesn't get reported seriously, and how can we change it. And on that panel will be Steve Allen, who was the pilot who had the Stephenville sighting. He just wants to hang out with us. I mean, he loved being in Florida. You remember him, right?
Yes, absolutely.
He loved what we did because it was serious, and he will be on that panel, and so will Jim Courant, who's currently flying for a commercial airline, who is an incredible investigator. And so, on Friday night, we usually have the cocktail party. Everybody has fun. Last year, everybody was in royal blue. This year, it's black and white, like newspaper print. And that cocktails party begins at 6 o'clock. And then we finish with the screening of Out of the Blue, James Fox's award-winning film. On Saturday, we have, in the morning, I'm having something very unusual. Karen Gresham-Nickel will do she will kind of do a guided meditation to begin the conference, and she's really dynamic. She's from Texas, and she's got a lot of followers. She uses beautiful music, and we have her beginning the conference, and we will have Cheryl Jones, former CNN anchor, jump right in and introduce our speakers. And we have all Saturday night, we have a Skywatch. We did that in Florida, too. This time, the Skywatch is right behind the hotel in a very beautiful park. And on Sunday morning, we have half a day of speakers. And what's important about this kind of conference is everybody gets to talk to everybody. It's small. 150 people can fit in that ballroom, so that everybody has access to the speakers. The vendors are inside the ballroom. It's really intimate. And last year we asked how many of the people in the audience had attended a UFO conference, and we got 3/4 of the audience that had never been to one ever. So what's interesting is that's if you do it in places like this where there are no major events, we get a lot of people that are first timers, and and their excitement is just contagious. So I'm really looking forward to presenting that this year. And of course, the universe jumped in because we're having some heavy news reports of UFOs over major airports. So it's supporting the conference in a very strange kind of way.
Now, I know that you've got the dates there handy. I believe that it's May the 2nd through the 4th.
Through 4th, right.
Okay, and that's 2014. And it's at the Clarion Elmhurst Hotel?
It's at the Clarion Elmhurst Hotel. It's 20 minutes away from O'Hare Airport.
Okay.
And it's really central. It's a beautiful hotel. It's the Clarion Hotel and Waterford Center. And it's going to accommodate us for the cocktail party, and the ballroom will be in the ballroom for the actual conference. But the grounds are beautiful. There's the park is behind the hotel, and it has willow trees and a small lake, and it's just really, really pretty. The thing that's important, though, it's not like other conferences. It kind of goes all over the place. We're going to be talking about one particular situation, and we're going to be talking about how CNN, Chicago Tribune is who broke the news, how CNN, television, documentaries, the Huffington Post, Lee Spiegel is a wonderful speaker, how they treat the UFO phenomenon, and how we can change the treatment of the reporting of this. And in the meantime, I'm sure between now and May, there'll be a lot more new UFO cases to report.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, where do our listeners find out more information about this?
Well, there's a dedicated website for Starworks USA. There always has been. It's a www.starworksusa.com. And it's very sophisticated in that it's got the tabs for the speakers and their backgrounds, the tab for the registration, the tab for the hotel, and how to contact us. And the price of the conference is only $150 for 3 days.
That's amazing.
But early bird is $125. And what you do, you can use the button there and put the credit card in there. It goes to PayPal, and you can sign up online, which is probably the easiest way to do it. So go to the www.starworksusa.com website. You'll see the video of the covering of the O'Hare incident in 2006, which is really wonderful. You'll also see James Fox's a piece of James Fox being interviewed about Out of the Blue. So everything is on there. And I'm going to add one other thing. We have people signing up, and I've got one coming from Australia.
Wow.
One person flying all the way here from Australia to come to this conference.
That's amazing. And I'm going to be there, and I've got people signing up on the MUFON website even. It's also noted on the meetup here. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with more information. So hold on to your hats. We've got Paula Harris talking to us tonight. We'll be right back.
For hundreds of years, those that have been curious enough to look to the stars in search of something beyond ourselves have been shunned, persecuted, and laughed at. Now, it's time for those curious few to laugh back. Saucer Seekers is a hilarious online comic strip that takes a humorous look at our world of disinformation while facing everyday life from the point of view of those who devote their lives to the search for the truth. The Saucer Seekers! TheSaucerSeekers.com.
My name is Michael DeFoy, and I'm the lead investigator for the Seekers Paranormal Society. About 7 years ago, I had my first paranormal experience. Now armed with the latest in paranormal equipment, I'm setting out to find the truth. Joining me on my quest to capture evidence is my equipment tech Ramon Vivas and investigator Steve Weldon. Take a front seat into our paranormal world as we are driven into the unknown. We are Seekers Paranormal Society.
SeekersParanormal.com.
Welcome back to Enigmatic Anomalies Radio. We're talking with Paula Harris, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. It looks like earlier we were discussing some of the UFO incidences that were in England, and it was at the Heathrow. I know you know a little bit about that. Can you share that with us? And there was another couple of them as well, the one that was in Bremen, Germany, and Beijing, China.
Yeah, when 2014 started, and my friends knew about this conference in Chicago, on Facebook and on the social media, they began posting these the news stories, and these are international news stories. And just recently, I think it was last week, a pilot that was flying into Heathrow Airport in London had a near miss with a UFO. The co-pilot didn't see it, but the pilot saw it. He said there was a silvery object in front of him just as he's about to land. And it went, the news went viral. It's on internet. People can go look at that. And he reported it. I mean, he couldn't help but report it. It was over the airport, so it was very close. And just that, at the beginning of 2014, brings this subject to light. And I think this week there was a sighting over Bremen, Germany. It was the airport, the actual airport at Bremen, that saw an object that reported an object over the airport. When I lived in Italy, we had no problem with UFOs being reported over Leonardo da Vinci Airport, Fiumicino. They were usually in the form of some kind of orb or a green light, and they would be reported on the news, on the 6 o'clock news. So I've always been following these airport stories, and there was another one at the very beginning of the year where they actually shut down the airport in Beijing, China. And this is about the third or fourth time they've shut down the airport. In China, they actually shut the airport down, which is real interesting, because of a sighting of a UFO. And that has also been in the news. So the idea that whatever is flying out there is seen by reputable people, I mean, more than air traffic controllers or people that know what's supposed to be in the skies, you can't get. I mean, it's not just your average citizen. So I've listed at least 4 major international airports right now, but the real curious story is what happened at O'Hare. Now, Terry, what I want to tell you is when I went to prepare for this conference in September, I was at O'Hare, and of course I came in on another terminal, and I went over to the United Airlines terminal. And being the journalist I am, I pulled out my camera. I went over to gate C-17. I started photograph all over the place. I started taking pictures from what they could have seen, where they were. Everybody noticed I was doing that within minutes. I had some TSA people come over there.
Oh boy!
But I wanted to get where it all happened because I was on location. It's like that.
Sure.
It was at this gate. It was still a United gate. People were watching me take pictures there. I have the photographs. And the idea that it would happen, that the employees would be told to keep quiet in fear of their jobs, that it was in 2006. I think we should revisit that, don't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's so interesting talking about all this. And like I said, I can't wait to get there and hear it all. But I am surprised that in the UK and in China and all these places that they talk about this and they're not afraid of losing their jobs. You know, but yet here in America, boy, you mentioned something like that and a pilot might not work again. Isn't that interesting?
What the problem is, and Jim Carant will be there and Steve Allen will be there, what they get is pulled in for psychological examination.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And that's a pain in the neck. I mean, you saw what you saw. The one in one of my books, I interviewed Jean-Charles Duboc, who was Air France, and he was part of the Disclosure Project. And basically, I asked him, and he said, I had no problem with that. He said it was a big UFO over, he said, a nuclear installation over Paris. He said, but I had a problem. I was responsible for all those passengers in the back, he said. And that was darn serious.
Oh, it's very serious.
If he had a collision with that, he wanted to know what it was. And he went public, and the French government didn't do anything to him. Because I think these people take responsibility for their passengers.
Which is excellent. You know, it's how it should be. Don't you think?
Well, it's different from here because I think here the ridicule factor, they pull you in for a psychological examination. I mean, it's different. It's people start laughing. I don't know what's so funny about that. But the fact that it's unexplainable. Remember, UFO means unidentified flying object.
Right.
It could be a drone in front of you. It could be our stuff. It could be some unknown aircraft that's been developed. It could be extraterrestrial. It could be any number of those things. Mm-hmm. But just a discussion about that is exciting.
Very much so. Very much so. I'm really excited about this, honestly, and meeting all the people that you have there, too. I know you have Jamie Foxx coming, and you've also got something going on. You're going to be talking about a tribute to CUFOS and Dr. J. Allen Hynek. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, J. Allen Hynek was the director of Project Blue Book under the Air Force that was looking at UFOs in the 60s. 50s, 60s, and 70s, and it ended in 1969 with the Condon Report here at the University of Colorado. And I met Allen Hynek after watching the movie. It affected me, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It affected me profoundly. And I went to Evanston, Illinois, and met him and worked with him for 6 years. So he was one of my mentors. But, the man, apart from being consultant to that movie, did a lot in his lifetime, and since we're in Illinois, and since CUFOS is still, a viable association like MUFON, it certainly doesn't have the number of people, working for it as MUFON does. But Mark Rodiger, who runs CUFOS, is still in Illinois, and I would love to give an award, as I've given an award every single one of the conferences. I gave one to Angela Joyner because she lost her job over Stephenville. I gave Yvonne Smith one last year in Florida because she does such great work with contactees. And this year, posthumously, we need to thank the man that did so much by helping bring Close Encounters to the screen.
I agree. And, it's so good of you to do this because it's something that is so needed within the UFO community as a whole. I applaud you for doing this. It's wonderful. Just wonderful, Paula.
Yeah, well, I thank you. And, of course, I'm so excited to have Mr. Magic back with us. Kevin Keel doing the he's going to do the AV. AV is everything. AV with film footage and PowerPoints and images. We're in an image-laden world. It has to be perfect. And his skills with us are going to be incredible in Chicago. And we're going to have some fun.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Yes, Kevin definitely weaves his magic. If someone signs up for the symposium, what can they expect each night or day?
Well, first of all, they'll expect an intimate atmosphere. In other words, there's so much networking that you'll make friends. Mm-hmm. So what happens is when you come to sign up, you'll get your badge right there, and it's a lanyard that you wear around your neck. You go to the cocktail party, and the cocktail party is, and it's great because being themed, the cocktail party, everybody's dressed the same color. It's just, even that's something to talk about.
I love that cocktail
party.
Everybody
was in royal blue from the Minister of Defense and Peter Robbins and all those guys that had the blue ties. And they are, in other words, it's a social gathering in the beginning, and then at night when we watch the film, Out of the Blue, James Fox, mm-hmm. who's a dynamic young filmmaker, will be there to answer questions. So you get to meet him and you get to see the film. And from that point on, the next day is pretty serious because it's all the speakers. And at night, everybody looks forward to, they have dinner on their own, but everybody looks forward to when it gets dark to going out and doing the sky watch. And even if you don't see anything, what it does is all these people that have made friends can look at the skies together. And they and if it's a nice environment, it's very pleasant. Of course, in May it's springtime. And then on Sunday is the last part of the conference. On Saturday is that panel in the afternoon, and that'll be an exchange of ideas that is are not the actual speakers, but people I've placed on that panel that are experts like pilots.
Right. Oh my gosh! And last year it was just amazing. I loved the panel.
Well, you were a part of the panel last year,
and it was so interesting.
You were on that panel, and it gave an opportunity for the general public. It's like having 6 more speakers, that are not announced.
Right, exactly. Now, again, there's limited seating to sign up, and I know that we need to let our listeners be aware that this really has a limited amount of people that can attend. So can you please give me your website again and a number or any way that people can get in touch with you?
Well, first of all, let me say that if you want to be in the hotel, there are only 23 rooms left. The hotel has given us a special price of $95, which for a Clarion is an amazing price.
That's great.
So you have to sign up with that hotel immediately because they're going to release, there won't be any rooms left, but if there's any rooms left, they're going to release them March 1st. But the website is www.starworksusa.com. You can pay online. It's $125 early bird until March 1st. And it includes the cocktail party, the movie, the speakers, and so forth. Dinner and lunch and so forth is on your own, and it's 20 minutes from O'Hare. If anybody has any questions, I have a telephone number they can call. It's 303-415-3900.
Okay, that's great. And I just might add $125 for a symposium of this magnitude. That's incredibly affordable. It's amazing. And again, I just have to applaud you for what you're doing because you really put on some amazingly wonderful symposiums in really nice places. And you just always have a special touch that you add to it. I just love how you do that. I can't say enough about it. But at this moment, we've got to take another quick break. So when we come back, we'll discuss a few more issues about what's going on. And hold on to your hats again. We'll be right back.
$4,734 UFO sightings in 2007. 854 abductions by aliens or unknown species reported by American and British citizens pressed information about collisions with passenger aircraft and UFOs that has been kept from the public knowledge for years, and only one trusted source on information from some of the top UFO researchers in the world. Exclusive information that cannot be found anywhere else on the planet. Trusted, connected, accurate. The UFOstore.com. Expand your personal library with fast shipping and instant downloadable information from the largest selection of UFO products on the internet by going to theufostore.com or call on the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week order line at 541-523-2630. The truth is out there, and the UFOstore.com has it.
Welcome back to EA Radio. We're talking with Paula Harris tonight and discussing a lot of the important upcoming symposium information that she's going to be doing in Chicago coming up. Oh, well, it's not actually Chicago, is it, Paula? It's Elmhurst, Illinois.
No, it's Elmhurst.
It's very close to Chicago. Sorry about that.
We were talking about this before. I think it's important to stress that I'm an educator, so I'm very interested in educating the general public, and this is not entertainment. This is educating people on a very serious level about, not only the UFO, question, phenomenon, but also the interdimensionality of our planet. Your program is called Anomalous
Enigmatic Anomalies.
Also, and every type of anomalous phenomenon is interconnected. So I think if we have a serious discussion about this, people will be more informed, and they'll have more informed opinions.
Right, exactly. And, your passion shows for this, which is exciting to me because this isn't entertainment, although there's so many wonderful people that are bringing so much information to the table. It's still really not about the entertainment. It really is about the education and learning all the facts about what's really going on. And the facts are shocking, really. I mean, we've got UFOs right there in the airspace. We've got it going on in Chicago. We've got it going on all over the world, for heaven's sakes. In the UK, like you mentioned earlier, in Beijing, China, and Germany. So it's happening all around us, not to mention the fact that we at MUFON get thousands of reports every week. But let me just ask you, what else is going on in your life? What's up and coming for you in 2014?
Well, Terry, the thing is, I started as a nuts and bolts researcher, so Chicago is nuts and bolts. Mm-hmm. But what I'm really passionate about right now is I'm interviewing contactees from Latin America about their current contacts with human-type aliens. Mm-hmm. I have just started studying the 1950s contactees like George Adamski, Howard Menger, George Van Tassel, and and the early contactees who met human-type aliens. I've been to Giant Rock. I've spoken to people that were there about what was happening in the 50s. And in the 70s, this began in Latin America with Sixto Paz and Luis Fernando and Ricardo Gonzalez, and that's Peru, Bolivia, and Argentina. And so my passion right now is to look at who was visiting us that was human type, so that I'm getting away a little bit from the stereotypical gray alien abduction scenario. I want to know the messages that these Latin American contactees are getting. And I just did an interview today, actually, with Luis Fernando. It's on my Facebook, who told me that 214 is going to be a very pivotal year, that not only are our energy is going to be amplified, but a lot of world events are going to happen, and he was told this by the aliens. So, for me, that you can hear my excitement. That's the passion I have. Plus, in March, I'm going to be flying to to Hollywood to talk to Craig Campobasso, who's releasing the film on Valiant Thor, who, people who don't know that, was a human-type alien that said he came from Venus. And the name of the film is Stranger at the Pentagon. There's a whole book written about it by Frank Stranges. And when I talked to Craig Campobasso about Valiant Thor's being real, he's basing it on documents he has and the testimony of the Stranges family and his third wife, who's given him a lot of information. And what's exciting, when I talked to the director of this film that's coming out, he says they maintain that Valiant Thor is still around, that he never left, that his ship is in over Lake Mead in Nevada, that these human-type aliens are able to mix in between regular humans on Earth, that they are trying to educate and change the vibration of the planet to kind of make us more evolved. Now, that's my research. That's what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And that isn't going to be part of the conference, but that is what I'm working on as a researcher right now. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. And also what you're saying is very synonymous with other ET contactees, that they are here among us. They're interacting with us and, giving messages to us, the people. And it all seems to be the exact same thing, the same message.
Well, it's important to listen to all different forms of contact. And there aren't any that I know of right now in this country, like Adamski and so forth. So I have to talk to the people in Latin America and two contactees in Italy that have not only talked to human-type contact, to human-type aliens, but they have photos of them. And that's Mauricio Cavallo and Pier Fortunato Zanfretta, who are contactees in Italy, and that's really my forte, is the ability to go worldwide with a particular research. And right now, I want to know about these people, and of course, down deep, I want to meet one of them.
Oh yeah, who doesn't? That'd be great. I'd love to know who amongst my friends might be one. That would be really amazing. I seem to get my information via night visions or dreams or just experiences. I don't really have, the opportunity like some to sit down with them, but I do understand Clifford Stone, many other people, Phil Schneider. They've all said that, yeah, they're here, they're among us. Some people work with them, literally, NASA, IBM, that type of thing. And then some people say it's controversial, but, I guess.
Well, actually, I have some photographs of Howard Menger's contacts that were taken in High Bridge, New Jersey, and there's pictures of Howard with these people, Howard and Connie, his wife, and they've got their arm around them, and they come out on the film footage is all light. And they've got two arms, two legs, the human body, but they're all light. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if in those days they misinterpreted and thought they were angels. Maybe they were. It's a really interesting, deep, complex mystery. But I am really, really encouraging people that are listening to this program to go on my Facebook, because I've shown some pictures of Luis Fernando, and you can see the UFOs around him, plus he has an image over his head of light. And so these people are operating today. These people are walking around today, these contactees. It's just that they don't speak English. I had to use an interpreter the whole time I was interviewing these people.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen pictures that, have light in them like that, or standing over someone. And, a lot of people say, well, yeah, maybe that's spiritual. Maybe that is an angel. Maybe that is a ghost, And it's true. Maybe it is extraterrestrial. It's so interesting. And I guess you have to look at each and every picture, and each one tells a story. And I guess you just need to know what that person is involved in and how they believe, basically. So, it's just, to me, it's just amazing that all this is going around, or not going around, but it's just happening around us is what I mean to say. And boy, it's just not what we grew up to believe. Everything is just so completely different. And let me ask you this. What do you think is holding the extraterrestrials back from disclosing themselves fully to us?
Well, every time somebody that's a little unusual discloses themselves, we either form a cult or religion or something around them. That's if we don't shoot them first. So I don't think they want it that way. I think what they want, this is my opinion, it's only opinion, is for us to be evolved enough spiritually with our technology in order to have some kind of dialogue with them. Mm-hmm. You cannot be speaking to a primitive species. I mean, we can't speak, even humans, it can only speak to people that can understand, the frame of reference they're speaking with. You can't be speaking to primitive people. So they're waiting for us to grow up. I think that they're among us, stimulating us, and boy, the idea that Val Thor could still be here with his group. If you see the pictures of Val Thor, he's got on a regular business suit. He's got a regular, human haircut. The people that are with him, the two people that are with him that are also from Venus, look like humans. And, it would be interesting to have a conversation with one of those people.
Has anybody ever done, to your knowledge, any checking on those people that said that that's who they were? Was there any birth certificates ever found that would have debunked that? Not that I'm saying that it's still not possible, but I'm just wondering what...
Well, it's really not about birth certificates. What happened is, if you study, I'm really encouraging people. You see the stack of books on my Facebook.
Oh yeah.
You get Stranger in the Pentagon. Frank Strange just went to the Pentagon. Frank Strange just met Val Thor there. He said that when he shook hands with him, he had no fingerprints and he had no belly button.
Yeah, I've heard that.
His skin was totally different. That he was briefed about Val's being there. I don't know why Val would think that we would ever listen to extraterrestrials. Mm-hmm. But he made an effort. It was in the time of the Cold War. It was in the time historically of that we could have blown ourselves up. And there's photographs of Val Thor on the Menger property. I put those out on my Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And these photographs were taken by the photographer August Roberts, who talks about their vibration when he was told that there were 3 of them there. He had to find them among the 100 people that were sitting there, and he said these 3 were definitely different.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So, if the movie comes out, if the articles get written about it, people want to understand what happened. Now, the date is 1957, so think of what you were doing in 1957.
Not too much. I was very tiny.
Well, I was very young too. I was like almost 6 or 7 years old, and I would never have dreamed that back in those days we had that kind of a situation. But in talking to the Latin American people, they're having it now. When Sixto Paz told me that the craft landed, that they put like a Zendra, he calls it a Zendra, a portal around him, and that he brought journalists aboard the craft, and they all saw it. And the pictures of Sixto Paz with all these people are there. They all saw it. It was both the Latin American contactees. It was contact en masse. In other words, they had 7 people walk in that craft with Sixto Paz. Luis Fernando told me he had 5 people with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not just one person's word.
Well, and
this is going on in the 1970s.
And the interesting thing here is that time is going on. We're in 2014. That was 1957. If these people are still alive, we need to document this testimony. We need to get it out there. And the new generation that is coming, behind us, we can hand the baton of information and documentation to them, and they can take it from there. And I see that as very important, keeping the truth alive and the story moving forward. Otherwise, people are just going to, go back into their sleep and, forget about it all. So it's interesting talking about this, and it's important that we do this and educate the younger generation, because in there lies the future of the information that goes forward. So I'm so pleased that you are doing your symposiums. It's just it's wonderful. So give out the dates and the websites just once again. Time has just been flying by here so fast. I want to thank you for being with us tonight. Please just share that website and the phone number and any other information you've got there, Paula.
Okay, well, the website for the Chicago Symposium, which is called Evidence in the Sky, the Media and Disclosure, is May 2nd through 4th. It's at the Elmhurst Clarion. The website is www.starworksusa.com. Any questions you can be sent to me you can call at 303-415-3900. And I really encourage people, because it's a very small number that can hold that can be in that ballroom, to register right away, because only 150 people can fit into that ballroom. We already have 28 people that signed up, so it's going to fill up fast. And I thank you so much for your media for doing your part in disclosure and for informing the general public.
Well, it truly is a passion of Kevin Keel's. That is why he does Enigmatic Anomalies, to get this kind of thing out there, to make people aware of what's going on, the important meetings and seminars and symposiums that are going on around. It's really needed, very much needed, and thank you. I look forward to seeing you. Kevin looks forward to seeing you in May, and that, again, is the 2nd through the 4th. I guess we will see you then. Thank you again, Paula, so much for coming on and sharing with us tonight.
And thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a good night. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with final thoughts.
My name is Michael the Fourth, and I'm the lead investigator for the Seekers Paranormal Society. About 7 years ago, I had my first paranormal experience. Now armed with the latest in paranormal equipment, I'm setting out to find the truth. Joining me on my quest to capture evidence is my equipment tech Ramon Vivas and investigator Steve Weldon. Take a front seat into our paranormal world as we are driven into the unknown. We are the Seekers Paranormal Society.
SeekersParanormal.com.
For hundreds of years, those that have been curious enough to look to the stars in search of something beyond ourselves have been shunned, persecuted, and laughed at. Now, it's time for those curious few to laugh back. Saucer Seekers is a hilarious online comic strip that takes a humorous look at our world of disinformation while facing everyday life from the point of view of those who devote their lives to the search for the truth. The Saucer Seekers! TheSaucerSeekers.com.
Welcome back, and thank you for tuning into EA Radio. It was a very interesting interview with Paula Harris.
It certainly was, and it always is whenever we talk with her.
Anyone who's interested in Paula's work, you can find her books on Amazon.com. Just type in Paula Harris, that's Paola Harris, and you'll find a wide variety of books that she has for sale up there, including Connecting the Dots, UFOs, How Does One Speak to a Ball of Light, the book that she wrote with Clifford Stone, Eyes Only, which is extremely interesting. I encourage you to listen to our interview with Clifford. It's on our channel here, as well as other exopolitics books, which are very insightful. Once again, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much.
From here at Enigmatic Anomalies, we wish you a good night.
Good night, and keep looking up.